Are you a pro wrestling fan? Then odds are at some point in your life, you were a backyard wrestler. In this new series, I'm going to take you through how we came from this to this. It's a long story, covering nearly 2 decades. But if you're a nostalgic person missing the backyard days of yesteryear and a simpler time of the 90s and early 2000s, this is the story for you. This is Backyard Wrestling Cinema. Welcome to Backyard Wrestling Cinema Season 4, Episode 4. Last week, the Holy Rollers debuted, previously known as Mr. Benjamins and AJ Mumbles. They were now known as Minister Mark Moses and the Prophecy Michael Green, respectively. Additionally, Rico DMF changed his character to a character that was supposed to be from prison named Criminal Cage. It's the fall of 2002, and we're in the middle of the XWA, the Extreme Wrestling Alliance, invading the B4W, Brookwood 4 Wrestling. The XWA was our version of trying to get our BWL invasion done right, but the last couple episodes just weren't working for us. Something was missing and we couldn't figure it out. In fact, most of these episodes never even aired on our public access TV show. Now, speaking of the Holy Rollers, they'd be taking on the Team of the Beast and the XWA champion, TLD. And they'd have to contend with the XWA's personal referee, Christian Greed, who came out to ringside with Beast and TLD. In the end, Mark Moses would hit his crucifix stunner, while Prophecy Michael Green used the Holy Spirit to command the referee to count the pin.
Looks like I got it here. Count it! What?
Oh! Count it, baby!
4, 2, 3!
Oh my God! The prophecy Michael Green! Compel the Lord to count the 1.
As I'm saying all this, I'm realizing how offensive this could possibly be to people. There's a guy called Christian Greed, which I never really fully understood that till just this minute. And then we have 2 guys pretending to be preachers and using the Holy Spirit, and I don't know, we were like 17 at the time, I don't know what to tell you. Next up, the XWA Canadian champion, the opposite of our B4W United States title. The champion Bobby Beau would take on the B4W World Champion Homeboy Joe Slice, with the B4W title on the line. Homeboy was just kind of finding his footing after being back after getting legit knee surgery just a couple months before. And the knee surgery was not related to wrestling. He needed it for some type of arthritis or something he had in his knees. And he was just coming back. He had just won the title. All the while, like, the rest of us had a bunch of these shows to get kind of TV ready. He was kind of thrust into there and had to be the main champion just kind of out of nowhere.
Oh, he's talking to the drive-by! Oh my! Oh! And he implanted him with a drive-by! Dear Lord, I'm surprised.
1, 2, 3!
And your champion!
He had to catch up quick, and he was doing a great job of it. He wins the match and retains his title. Next up, TLD, the XWA champion, and referee Christian Greed bring out Rob Olivias, who was previously known as Rob Noxious. Until I found that name in a PWI magazine, saw that there was an actual wrestler named Rob Noxious, and I thought he was going to come and find us and sue us. I thought it was this whole thing. Anyway, we changed his name to Rob Olivias. Criminal Cage, previously known as Rico DMF, and at this time he's doing a split personality gimmick where he's Criminal Cage, but he kind of flashes back to Rico. It's kind of like this back and forth thing. We were just trying out new things to see what was going to work. Right now he's the US champion. We say he was awarded that title by the owner, but I don't have a vignette that shows that, so I don't think we ever filmed one. The week before, we had done a US title battle royal, which was won by the Prophecy Michael Green, but because that show never aired on public access, and for that matter, neither would this one, we just created a new champion. Now, on our website, and all these years later, we've recognized both title reigns on our title history, for some reason. Also, for some reason, the camera's wildly tilted in this match. It looks like you're looking at like one of those 1960s Batman villains for something. This is your basic squash match with Criminal Cage retaining the US title.
Uh-oh. Go the free fall!
Dear God. Oh boy, I don't think he's gonna...
It looks like he just had an epiphany. The Duke is fire! It's over!
Come on, get on!
Trying to press, he's trying to hang on.
The main event would see a number of XWA members, specifically TLD, the champion, Criminal Cage, the US champion, and referee Christian Greed take on Mac and Cheese, which was myself as Denver Street and Tommy Thunder, alongside the current B4W World Champion Homeboy Joe Slice. Tommy Thunder accidentally called Criminal Cage Ricky or Rico.
Like to take a hit or two, Ricky.
Keep going.
Keep going. It's called editing.
The magic of editing.
The magic of editing.
It's funny because when we look back and see the actual raw footage of this, Slug, who was there that day, calls out from behind camera, "This is why we have editing. It's so easy to edit." But it wasn't. And here's why. You had one tape and everything had to be edited and transferred to another tape. And to try to find a seamless cut in the middle of a wrestling match when you have 3 guys on the outside, 3 guys on the outside, 2 guys in the ring, a referee, try to get everybody lined up. We were only filming with 1 camera at the time. We didn't think about filming with multi-camera stuff. I don't even know how you would edit something like that back in the day. So to try to edit that without it being a jump cut was a pain. In the end, the XWA team was able to steal a victory. Afterwards, it turned into an all-out brawl, which saw Slug make his return, face paint and all, not to help the B4W, but to join the XWA.
This match is over, and this is just a full-out brawl. And let's get back in.
And because I didn't know anything about story, rather than the XWA leaving us laid out, we used the guitar and knocked out Slug, and the B4W team stood tall, despite them having a brand new member and way more members than we did.
The Slug is the... Denver Street is... Oh my God! Denver Street just cracked Slug over the head with that guitar! Oh, damn! The B4W has just taken over the XWA.
Whoa.
And the reason was we were just so excited to use that goddamn guitar. And rather than wait a week to use it and maybe get some payback, we decided we had to use it right then and there. And we got the guitar for free because myself and Slug and Rico worked at KB Toys. And the rule at KB Toys that I was told by my manager is if there is a toy that's opened, it has to go in the garbage. So that guitar ended up open by somebody. I don't know who, Slug. So it had to go in the garbage, and the garbage happened to be in the back of my car. Statute of limitations, people. Now, all the while this stuff was going on, myself and Tommy Thunder were training to be professional wrestlers. And we had done a battle royal in like kind of our first professional outing early in the month on October 4th. 5 days after this show was taped, we were doing a battle royal in the venue that I would be running in this very day, 20-something years later. So it's kind of weird the way things all tie together and the way things work out. I never thought back then that while we were living 2 different lives as backyard wrestlers and independent wrestlers, that one day this building that we were running in would be sort of my home for my own company, and several of these guys who are on these shows would still be wrestling for me on these shows. And we'd be in wrestling magazines, and we'd be all over the internet, and we'd have our own TV show and all this kind of stuff that just happened to us. I would have never been able to guess or picture any of it. That's all for this week. We'll see you next time right here on Backyard Wrestling Cinema.
Oh! Super dead! Got him in the... And Moses? Oh! Nothing!